welcome to SVG-TV News for Tuesday, March 2nd, 2021. I am Rochelle Batiste with the details. Following the arrival yesterday, Monday, March 1st, 2021, of 40,000 doses of the Indian manufacturer Covishield AstraZeneca COVID-19 vaccine, the Ministry of Health, Wellness and the Environment is moving swiftly to ramp up the vaccination process and get as many Vincentians vaccinated as possible. Speaking at the handing over of the vaccines at the Argyle International Airport yesterday, Minister of Health Sinclair Jimmy Prince announced that the government is hoping to have at least 50,000 Vincentians vaccinated by mid-April. The Agency for Public Information API says as part of this drive, the Ministry of Health will hold a walk-in day tomorrow at the Victoria Park where Vincentians are being encouraged to come and get vaccinated. No appointment is required. One only needs to turn up. The vaccination drive, which is part of a national drive, is scheduled to begin at 9 a.m. With the vaccine set to expire at the end of June, the API said the ministry will be expanding its outreach to the various communities and will soon activate the vaccination process at all 39 health clinics throughout St. Vincent and the Grenadines. The administration of the vaccine is intended to stop the spread and effects of COVID-19 in the country, and the API said it is anticipated that once at least 70% of the population is vaccinated, the country should achieve population or herd immunity and a return to a certain level of normalcy. At Monday's handing over ceremony of the 40,000 Covishield AstraZeneca vaccines from India, Prime Minister Dr. Ralph Gonsalves said that he is looking forward for the vaccination exercise to be done at all clinics across SVG so as to ensure everyone is given the opportunity to be vaccinated.
That they're going to have these vaccines go to the 39 clinics and rural hospitals, health centers. And they'll have enough persons to administer them. And additionally, they're having a big outlet at Victoria Park, and that they'll be going for various sectors. They're going for the nurses and doctors, all the health workers, they're going for the police, they're going for the teachers, they're going for ministry by ministry in the public service, and they generate interest with having, without having overcrowding, but to have vaccine fairs.
PM Gonsalves noted that with many persons likely to flock to various vaccination sites, they are ensuring that adequate amount of masks are available at these locations. The Prime Minister, however, maintains vaccination is not mandatory.
At particular locations that people can come and get your vaccines, and they're practical things. I said to her, I said, well, people will turn up at the clinics in the rural area, maybe without a mask. We have to make sure that we have lots of masks there for people if they come in the line to give them while they're waiting to get their vaccines and so on. We have to give now a big, huge national push, so forth, and the churches have to do it, and we have to get it going. Because the quicker we do this, the safer it is for all of us. I make the point in all this that we are not going to make it mandatory. We're not going to force anybody to take it. You have to take it in your own self-interest and the self-interest of your family members.
And persons who have been vaccinated are still being asked to wear a face mask, which has raised doubt by some about the efficacy of the COVID-19 vaccines. At Monday's handing over ceremony of the 40,000 COVID-19 vaccines, the Covishield AstraZeneca from India at the Agar International Airport, Chief Medical Officer Dr. Simone Kaiser-Beach responded to such concern by explaining that initially the vaccines were created to decrease the chances of persons getting very ill and the death rate. She noted that with data still being compiled, it is too early to say that there is 100% prevention against COVID-19, especially with the first dose of the vaccines.
And more evidence is coming forward as more and more vaccines are being dispensed, and so now you have the real world evidence. We have decreased infections, decreased capacity to infect one person infecting another. So I get the vaccine, I have the virus still, but my body is going to fight it, so I don't develop anything serious, but it's still there in my nose and in my mouth, I can still pass it on. That, the evidence is showing that is decreased, but it's not 100%. So there is still the likelihood of it happening. And so therefore we still need to wear the mask.
The CMO said that SVG will be relying on data locally and internationally, and until they are satisfied that a large number of the population has been vaccinated, the protocol for the wearing of masks will remain. Dr. Kaiser-Beach also noted that the 8 persons who have died from COVID-19 in SVG were at high risk, with one of the persons never leaving home, hence the importance for persons to take the necessary precaution and get vaccinated.
Once you get to community or population immunity, where you have the majority of persons having decreased likelihood of being infected or passing it on, then we would consider decreasing the need to wear your mask. But once we are still building to that place, and once we still don't have 100% prevention, you still need to. But always remember, so many persons have died. You need to stop that. Your aunt, as Prime Minister said, 8 persons have died. 1 person actually said they didn't leave their homes. So that means it came in, okay? So we have to protect against the getting sick, dying, the loss of productivity, so we wear the mask.
SVG on Monday, March 1st, 2021, recorded no new positive cases of COVID-19 from the 30 samples received and processed on Sunday, February 28, 2021. The National Emergency Management Organization, NEMO, however, noted that at the time of the release on Monday evening, there were no results for the 236 samples received at the lab for that day. 7 persons were cleared, bringing the number of total recoveries to 945. 675 cases remain active, and 8 persons with COVID-19 have died. 1,628 cases of COVID-19 have been reported in St. Vincent and the Grenadines since March 2020. The public is urged to use a mask, sanitize, physically distance, and get vaccinated to reduce the spread of COVID-19 in SVG. Superintendent Minister of the Methodist Church from the Kingston to Chateaubriand Circuit, Reverend Adolphe Davis, has welcomed the decision taken by the health authorities to ease the mask restrictions on churches to allow more persons to be inside the church for worship. Effective Saturday, February 27th, places of worship are now permitted to have indoor gatherings that are a maximum of 1/3 their regular capacity. In a telephone interview with SVG-TV News, Reverend Davis said the adjustments to the protocol were done after a reassessment found that the churches could operate without increasing the risk of persons contracting COVID-19, deeming the risk factor in a chapel low once persons follow the guidelines, which include proper spacing and regular sanitization.
They reassessed the protocols and felt that appropriate and suitable protocols that didn't increase significantly or even substantially the risk could be employed. I think most persons can reasonably conclude that people going into a church building, sitting down in one place, standing up, sitting down, standing up, wearing masks, temperature check in many instances, going in, sanitizing, going in, is very low risk.
Reverend Davis says while he is looking forward to having more members attending face-to-face service, he is awaiting the time when things can return to a level of normalcy. He explained that the church will be capitalizing on the ability to increase their capacity and likened the new protocols to what members would have experienced when the measures were implemented last year.
So we will be naturally making use of the opportunity to, manage with more persons, a little more persons in the chapel. But last year, one of the things we've noted last year before December, and before people, I think, started generally returning to normalcy, shaking hand and greeting and hugging, the vast majority of people and the churches operated, I think, very smoothly and comfortably with physical distancing and sanitizing, and we really didn't have much of a problem. And I really see it as us going back to some level of functionality in that rhythm of last year.
Speaking on whether he would be encouraging his members to be vaccinated, Reverend Davis noted that he has already taken the vaccine and will not dissuade others from doing so. He said the current distrust in the vaccines is mainly from misinformation, which are heavily circulated on social media.
I have been vaccinated already. I was vaccinated last Saturday, and I certainly have no reason to discourage anybody from vaccinating. In fact, I think, I could be wrong, but one of the major factors in affecting people's attitude towards vaccination is our modern social media era. I find it, to be honest, in some ways ridiculous that somebody's going to send me a WhatsApp of a video, let's say, of a man saying, I took this vaccine, and, I am dying. I have no idea who the man be, where he come from, what is his credibility, if he actually took the vaccine. I know nothing about the man. But I am going to take his Facebook video authority, take his word as something authoritative that will determine how I function. I must admit, I don't give social media that level of credit.
The Roads, Buildings and General Services Authority, BRAXA, has completed the construction of a new radiology room at the Levi Latham Health Center in Mesopotamia. The project saw the retrofitting of the radiology room. This included the construction of partitions and the carrying out of plumbing and electrical work. BRAXA also painted and tiled the facility. The Pan American Health Organization PAHO funded project was done at a cost of $58,000 and was carried out over a 4-week period. Another update now on the La Soufrière volcano. The National Emergency Management Organization, NEMO, said the gas plume coming from the dome at the volcano continues to cause damage to vegetation in the summit areas on the southwestern side of the volcano. NEMO said the measurement of carbon dioxide in soil along the lower sides of the volcano has commenced, and that a monument to be used as a benchmark for a new continuous GPS monitoring station was constructed at the Fancy seismic site, while work continue at the Belmont Observatory with the installation of the seismic data acquisition system. NEMO is reminding the public that no evacuation order or notice has been issued and continues to appeal to the public to desist from visiting the volcano, especially going into the crater, since doing so is extremely dangerous. The organization said it will continue to provide regular updates on all activities taking place at La Soufrière. Welcome back. 60 women have successfully completed a skills training program funded by the Canada Funds for Local Initiative to the tune of 77,000 Canadian dollars. The program, which started last September, prioritized women during the pandemic. Larissa Pugsley-Kidd tells us more in this report.
60 women who took part in the skills training program came from various parts of the country, including the Northern Grenadines. They received training in craft making, tie-dyeing and other areas. The third and final batch of 20 women trained under the program collected their certificates on Monday at the National Cultural Foundation Centre in Montrose. Program coordinator of the Canada Fund for Local Initiative, Julian Pollard, said that the National Cultural Foundation, along with the Ministry of Culture, thought it was important to get women involved in the training exercise as they were found to be mostly affected during the pandemic.
Men sometimes have other avenues that they would go to, but because women basically do craft at home, or maybe just do craft and gardening, they were the ones who were more put out. Now besides that, about 70 to 75% of our craft producers are women, and therefore just by sheer volume, COVID affected them more.
The skills training program was funded to the tune of 77,000 Canadian dollars. Cultural Officer Maxine Brown said the training prepares the women to be better equipped post-pandemic. Brown said with March being National Heroes and Heritage Month, it enhances skill set, noting that there are more craft work to be showcased and promoted by locals.
So we want to keep the creative skills alive, and during this month, the indigenous culture is brought out through the craft, through the music, through the works of our people, through recapturing past history and talking of our people. So through this workshop, and because it's Heritage Month, we continue to invest in our Garifuna people, in our indigenous lifestyle, so that youth can learn and be proud. After all, who would we be if we don't know our heritage?
The women were in full praise of the program, which they say was one with a difference.
It's like to build each other up, and I must thank you for, you're always warm, you're always welcoming. I
want to do something for our living, and I see that as my goal to do that, where I can make different stuff.
The National Cultural Foundation will now be focusing on young people as they are planning for another training session in the coming weeks, but this time in film.
A film workshop, and that's supposed to start very soon, maybe next month. I think that there are applications out for persons who are interested.
For SVG-TV News, Larissa Pugsley-Kidd.
Craft clothing and other items are currently on showcase at the National Cultural Foundation at New Montrose. Most of the clothing and craft work are from the women who completed the skills training program. SVG-TV News spoke with some of the participants who shared their stories of getting into the craft business.
3 years ago, I got myself a t-shirt press, the hit press, so I could start that business, but for some reason, I couldn't get it ongoing because I didn't have all the material. I get into tourism, do some tour guide, were able to get a cricut machine and then tourism gone. But when I came here and I saw we had a wide variety of different stuff, it was an eye-opening for me. It was a dream come true.
I also have a little business, so by pushing me in screen printing and the tie-dyeing, those are the ones that I really want to expose myself on.
A friend of mine named Takai, she told me about the program. One day I will love to open my own business, doing baskets and crafts.
I came here since November because of this COVID thing and slow down, everything slowed down. So someone told me about this program. So I came and do a little thing, and that's how I'm here.
The women were told to be creative and produce items that are unique to SVG, but at the same time be competitive with what's in the stores. The women say the training and the support from the NCF put them in a better position to market and sell their products. They are also hoping to capitalize on the cruise season when things get back to normal.
Ideas just started flowing to do a toilet paper roll from the same scallops, and I really enjoy this. And along with that, I came up with a hand towel, and these were more screen printing that we did. This is the breadfruit. We all know the history of the breadfruit. It's something significant in St. Vincent and around the Caribbean. It's like I have the t-shirt here with Chateau here. I did a mass.
This is like a hibiscus, and they're all on canvas material and domestic material. The hat is from burlap material. So most of it is actually from canvas, where I can easily paint on and show my artwork.
I have on display, as you can see, the skirt, the clutch, there's a necklace, the bow that goes with the skirt. I have a mirror. This is the bag, tie-dyeing, which we did here. These are what we learned here, the tie-dyeing, the screen print.
These are little coasters also from the crochet. These from the straw. You don't clean them, you twist them and you make, and if you want, you can tie them together and you put anything you want to put on it. It could be a pot holder as well as a hanger to hang up.
In other news, police are investigating a report of arson made by a 39-year-old contractor of Calderidge against some unknown person or persons. According to reports, the assailant or assailants, without lawful excuse, allegedly destroy one wooden house and its contents valued at $80,575 by setting it on fire. The incident occurred at Paget Farm, Beckway on February 21st, 2021. Persons with information that can assist with this investigation are asked to contact the Assistant Commissioner in charge of crimes at telephone number 17844561339 or the officer in charge of the Grenadines Division at telephone number 17844571211 or any police station or police officer you are comfortable with. All information, the police say, will be treated confidentially. With the Easter season quickly approaching, law compliance and enforcement officer with the Forestry Department, Bradford Latham, is appealing to members of the public not to use harmful chemicals inside of rivers and streams as fishing methods. Latham said that as the month draws closer, forestry officers would be going around to different communities to educate the public on these harmful substances, which he said can be dangerous to the marine life and other human practices.
Terrain of rivers and streams, and we'll be working and reminding citizens to play their part, not to contaminate the water using these practices that are not favorable, that is going to impact on everyone. When you use chemical, it destroys many of the wildlife, and when they inside the water dying and decaying, it also will make the water not usable for drinking, bathing, and washing for persons who still utilize the river in many ways.
The forestry law enforcement officer said it is always best to use the traditional ways of fishing, such as hands or net and baskets.
So we are appealing to persons that use the best practices, whether a basket, the hand method, when you go about looking to catching any of the crustacean or fish that frequent within the rivers and streams. So best practices, and if you want to know some of the best practices that you can utilize, you could call us, and we do encourage the use of basket. Some persons like to use a line, or some people use a net. This gives the person who is catching the opportunity to be selective. They can put back the small ones, take those that are quite ready for harvesting, and we always talk about sustainable use, so that we ain't destroy everything within 1 or 2 seasons. So sustainable use, we're talking about conservation, and that is one of the role and duties mandated by the Forestry Department.
Latham is also appealing to the public not to dump cement and cement bags in the rivers and streams.
Greed do have an impact. Persons who want to overfish. We are appealing also to persons who are involved in concrete batching or the washing out of concrete. Over the years, some of the mass killing or decimating of the crayfish within rivers or stream was as a result of persons either have spillage, accidental spillage within the river, or deliberately dumping cement bags or excess, or when washing out the cement bucket and everything like that into the stream. This do create a lot of, we say, disastrous results on the wildlife and aquatic species within our rivers and streams.
Latham said that the mission of the Forestry Department is to conserve, protect, and develop the natural resources of SVG, and everyone should play a part in doing the same. Vincentians wishing to get involved in ecological farming now have access to a free user-friendly booklet to guide their efforts. The booklet, Make Your Home Garden Flourish, is published by the Richmond Vale Academy, the RVA, and is a permaculture guide to crop rotation, champion plants, and seasonal planting in St. Vincent. The RVA says that people who are new to home gardens might have challenges starting out and deciding what and when to plant, and the booklet focuses on seasons, which season is best for planting, crop rotation, what crops to plant after each harvest, and champion planting, the benefits of planting certain crops together. The publication, which is available free online, draws on traditional and scientific knowledge of gardening and contains several pages of illustrated seasons calendars to guide gardeners on when to plant and harvest their crops, crop rotation, and champion planting. It further details the impact of chemical fertilizers on the soil and how intercropping, the use of crops to achieve nitrogen fixing, and natural pesticides can be used in place of chemicals which are harmful to the soil, environment, and human health. The booklet also explains techniques that can be used to ensure more yield in a small space and the use of champion planting to improve the flavor of crops. The booklet is published as part of the RVA's Ecological Home Garden Movement, which is part of a 10-year St. Vincent Climate Compliance Conference 2012-2021. It was produced with financing from the Canada Fund for Local Initiatives, which has also supported the making of several home gardens in Barrowley last year. The RVA is now seeking funding to print the book so that copies could be distributed to interested persons.